I'm gonna do this. All right, so I think we're live. So double check this here. Um, make sure my YouTube is working here. I've got my chats over on this side this time so that when I'm looking at the chat and reading the chat, it's like I'm looking at you. All right, so I think we're live. All right, sounds good. I think I can hear myself, and we'll see if people tune in for the second part of this. This is again just random. Well, less random than yesterday, but I'm continuing from yesterday. And I've got a double whammy here. I've got my Blender Frenzy hat, and I've got my not Blender Frenzy hat, but my Blender hat and my Blender shirt here today for part 2. We got 2 Blender stuff here. And Srujan is back. Hi. Srujan, thanks for joining in. I tried to do the live stream. I don't like necessarily doing it this late, but since I did it this late yesterday, I think people were wanting to. Some people want to come back, and consistency is good. Something that I don't have very much of. But yeah, it's good. Good to have you back. And I don't know how much we're actually going to do today, but I'll show you basically the next part of the process of my video editing. So this is what we did last time, or we did a third of this last time. We did the last third over here, where I just showed you basically how I make my first cut. So this is a whole first cut video, and I realized the way I was sharing my screen last time, I did not have let's see, my highlighter showing, because when you just show Blender and you don't show your actual screen, it doesn't show the highlighter, because the highlighter on my mouse cursor is technically a separate program. So if you're not looking at that program, and you're looking at Blender as a program, yeah, it's weird like that. So now you can see my highlighter. I don't know if this is more or less annoying, so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Oh, let me get, because this is also not by default. I have to do this through the 3D viewport for some reason. And that's the screencast keys here. And I need to also figure out where I should put them. Let's see. Yeah, I think over there is going to be fine. I think that worked well last time. Okay, and so the way I work, at least with my tutorial, so I don't do a lot of video editing as far as like creating movies or content or anything. I'd like to start doing that because I want to create like some short films and stuff. So I kind of want to do that eventually, but this is all just tutorial stuff. So if you're making tutorials, I have like a 2 to 3 part system. The first part, of course, is the first cut. And so this is going to be this video is going to be the second part. This live stream is going to be the second part. And I mentioned last time that I think I'm going to break this video into 2. So I don't necessarily mind having a 50-minute video. Sometimes that's okay, but generally when people see 50-minute videos, they're like, I don't like that. So if I can even break that down into half, so I think I can. So I just got to figure out where I'm going to break this one down. So we're talking about marker removal. This is going to be it was going to be the third video in the chapter, but then now it's going to be 3 and 4. But the first part I talk about it like the first general technique of using the masks to remove the markers in the compositor. And then the second half I talk about kind of some special techniques in my instance, because if I can come to a better, view here. Just to show you, if I can show you my markers, the markers on my face. So close. Come on. Come on. So I just kind of go into the theory of like marker and marker removal. Well, maybe I can show you here. So the mistake that I made last time, or when I not last time in the live stream, but when I filmed this footage, so I put dots on my face for the tracking markers. The problem that I had is that I had I need a better view here of my face without all of those splines on there. Come on, and this is a little difficult. Come on, I know it's somewhere. Oh, let's go. So I can scrub a little bit better here. Let's try to find. Oh, right, almost right here. I want to try to get it without the compositing because I do a lot of the compositing here. Oh, this shouldn't be this difficult. Like, I have like the step-by-step, and this is oh, right there. Okay, right there. Okay. Sorry. See, this is something that I would just cut out, you know, if I was actually if I wasn't live streaming. Okay. Here's a pro tip when you are making markers on your face for any sort of tracking. Don't use huge blue dots because am I still live? Okay, I think I am still live. Looks like I might be having some laggy issues right now. I'm not entirely sure. But don't use huge blue dots because it's, as I go over in this video, it's very difficult when you're trying to remove them. And so in the first part of the video, I showed like how you would normally remove them, but it doesn't work when you have really big blue dots on your face. I recommend instead to have tiny black dots because that's going to help you, or at least not, I don't know, at least not blue, and at least not this big. I think I could have gotten away with the blue if they weren't as big, but I might, if you're going to do something with color, maybe, I don't know, red. But anyway, it also depends on your skin tone and all of that stuff too. So smaller markers would be better generally. Okay, so that's why I'm going to split it into two, because the first half is going to be how you would generally remove your markers. The second half of this mess here is going to be the particular way I had to do some workarounds in order to get this to work. And in fact, when I was making this the curriculum and stuff for this course, I was like, oh yeah, marker removal, that'll be one video, it'll be easy. And then I started trying to remove the markers. I'm like, what? It took forever. Anyway, so, oh, my connection is excellent now. I don't know, I was having an issue earlier. Anyway, okay, so we're diving right back into it. Let's, so this first part here, I gotta figure out where it ends, where I start talking about the second portion of this. I think it's around the 20 mark. Oh, here I can pull this down to 25. I use proxies. If you didn't see the live stream from yesterday, here, let's pull this out here. I just use come on. I use proxies per project, and then I just use one directory for all of my proxies. And let's see here. Okay, yeah, so it's actually not even at 20. I think it's around here. We have here because the in-paint and blurring stuff works well on skin, but not so well on facial hair. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this map. Okay, so it's actually around 18. So the first video is going to be 18 minutes long or so. Markers on different spots. And so we're going to actually talk about the next one, and that is the beard problem that we have here, because the... Okay, so and I don't exactly know where to cut that yet, so I'm going to put a marker here. Oh, and I'm doing prefix frames. I don't want to do that right now. Okay, put a marker here, and I'm going to rename this marker to split into 2 videos here. I don't usually do that. I usually just say like video 1, video 2, whatever, but and then I'll just separate them like this, and then I'll save this, and then I'll save this as something else. Which I should do here, but I'm going to, let's see, I'm gonna just put like this, my splash screen up again, just while I save it, and that's just because I like to just hide all my system stuff, so like folders and stuff. It's just distracting. And that way also, if I'm working on some, top secret projects, then I won't give anything away. So I'm still here. I'm just saving this as something else. I'm saving this as, let's see, mark removal compositing. We'll say part 1, and then I'm gonna save that as A101. Okay. And we're back. Okay. So now I've saved this. This is going to be part 1, and so I'm just going to delete all of this stuff over here. Something you can do, and this again, I also need to mention this. My screencast keys you can see over here. I forgot to mention this when I put the screencast keys up, but I have my own hotkeys. I have my own shortcut keys, so I changed them. You can change them in Blender. And so if you're looking at what I'm trying to do, if you're looking at what I'm doing and then try to do it yourself, it's gonna, it may not work because you would have to change your shortcut keys. Anyway, this I don't think I changed. I think this is still default. But if I Alt-A to deselect everything, and then you can put your cursor somewhere before or after something. If you put it before something, you can hover your mouse on this side of the timeline cursor, and what I mean the blue timeline cursor right here. If you hover over on this side of it and Control and then left click, it'll select everything to the right. If I deselect everything and I go on the left side of the timeline cursor, it will select everything on the left. And I do that actually a lot when I'm editing. So when I cut and then I want to move everything, since I've got a lot behind it, I just do real quick that, and then G to grab and then move everything. But in this instance, I just want to delete everything. Okay, so now we've got our 18 minutes worth of stuff, and this is the second part, so we're just going to jump right into what I normally would do here, and that is put this in a metastrip first, and then you can notice all this stuff over here that I have, and you see it. We're starting at the 30-second mark, which is frame 720. I like to do that when I'm cutting, where I have all my template stuff over here at the start. And so now if I click and I change my start frame to frame 1, this is what you'll see. And okay, it's going really slowly now. So can you hear that? I think you can hear that. But then I have the background color, I have the music, I have the title, and I'll get into this. This is actually a scene. So I have a separate scene for my title, and I have a separate scene for my lower thirds. So I'll kind of get into that here. So then right here you have the title animation, this kind of template there, and then I had this transition that I made. Just kind of going with the theme of the Terminator, kind of like, you know, the Terminator's vision there. And then it wipes into the video, which we need to place. So our meta strip, I need to place that down here. And then I have these privacy bar things. I'll show you that too. I didn't know what else to call them. It's not really for all that much privacy. It's just, again, maybe distraction, hiding bars. But if I hide that, that's just this up here. You can see, and it's blurry now, but that's just where the path is, the path to my blend file. It's just kind of, since I save like iterations, kind of be distracting. People might not understand what I'm doing, so it's just easier just to hide it. And so it's just a color strip that I have that I saved. Actually, it was one up here and then one down here. The one down here I have normally for my live stream or my recordings generally with OBS Studio, just to cover like all my icons. Again, just distracting. I think it's distracting when I'm watching a tutorial and I see the time that they recorded it, and I see the date and then all the icons and stuff. So I like to get rid of all of those distractions. It just looks a little bit more professional. But what I did was I put a color strip up here and a color strip down here that kind of matches the colors of Blender, and then I saved it out as one single image so that I could use the top or the bottom or both. So that's what that is. And then I have another transition for the end. So we need to take this end and we need to pull it all the way to the end. So just select these, select this one, and then shift select the privacy bar's handle. And then if I press G to grab, I can move, and then if I middle mouse, I can lock that to an axis. In this case, it's the x-axis. So, and then I'm just going to pull it out over past the end, and I don't need this marker anymore. We'll figure that out at the end, where to place that. But that's basically the second part. And well, part of the second part. How many times can I say part? Part of the second part is to watch the whole video, which I'm not going to do here, and separate it into timestamps. So I'm going to add my timestamps. And then what I'll do with the timestamps in my course is I've created lower thirds, like saying, okay, here's the part where I do this, and here's the part where I do this. It's easier to see that way. So I'm just going to create a couple different timestamps. Well, I'm going to try to kind of skip ahead to see. Well, this one is, I know easily, this one is recap. So right away at the very beginning, I'll just make a marker, and I'll say TS for timestamp, and then I'll do recap. Okay, and then I would just watch it. We have our, and this actually serves two purposes, which I won't do the main initial purpose, which is to watch it to make sure that I've cut out everything okay. So it's my second pass. I want to watch and make sure like I'm making the initial cuts correctly. I'm not skipping over anything. I'm not forgetting to cut out anything. That is what I'm not going to do here, because I don't want to sit here and bore you with just watching a video that I've just cut. So that it serves that purpose, and then as I go along, when I switch topics, then I'll put those timestamps. So we're only going to do the timestamps now. I'm just going to scrub through here. The end of the recap is, I think, around 1:30. Oh, nope, 2 minutes. So then let's figure out where. So let's go to the compositing workspace. Okay. What do I want to say for this one? What's the first technique that I do? It also depends. I sometimes wonder how many to actually do. Sometimes it's frustrating for me just because thinking about it, like, oh, what do I want? How do I want to break this down? Because I could be like, okay, prep the compositor for a minute, and then the next minute, here, introduce the first mask, and then that lasts for a minute, and then we introduce the in-paint node or whatever, or do I zoom out and just be like, here's the compositor. This is what we do compositing, and just one timestamp. You know, I don't necessarily know how to break it down. So for now, I'm going to put, because it doesn't really matter. I'm showing you my techniques. So I may change this after the live stream anyway. So, so we'll say TS and then prep the compositor. And for my course, I'm trying to like say it how I would actually type it out in the lower thirds. For timestamps, it doesn't really matter, like on YouTube. You can say whatever, but I'm trying to think of how it would fit in my little animation. So prep the compositor is good, and then so a minute later we like, I don't know, adding the yeah, I'll say adding the 2D mask. Okay, and maybe we'll do one more. Oh, and TS intro to the alpha over node. I do want to do this one because that's also important. And that lasts for a good while. So I kind of go really slowly here, just to kind of show you the concepts of what masking looks like, how to use them with the nodes. And all of this, again, plug for my course, all this in my course at blenderfrenzy.com right now for the early access. Since I'm still building the course, obviously, you get early access. It's $45 for the life of the course, even after I add everything onto it. But it will be $75 at full price once everything is finished and it's on Blender Market. So get it now for $30 off. There you go. There's my plug. I go over a whole bunch of different stuff. It's called the Blendinator. It goes over from start to finish how to add CG objects into real-world footage as on an indie budget. Just do-it-yourself kind of run-and-gun type of thing. So, now, these are my lower third. Well, before the lower thirds, I like to start with the title, so it's easier also to show you. So the title here is a scene strip, and it's basically pulling the information from my title scene. Now, what I've done is set up a workspace over here that if I click the title workspace, it will automatically change to the title scene. And you can do this by clicking this pin button here. So if I unpin that there, and then I go back to edit, then my video editing is on edit, and the title is now still only on edit. but I don't want the title to be on edit. I want the title to be on title, and then we pin that. So now when I click back and forth between the workspaces, video editing, lower thirds, and title, they're pinned to their corresponding scenes. Really super useful tip there. Okay, so I've got my title scene here. This is geometry nodes. I'll kind of give you a little quick peek at what that looks like. So this is what the title looks like here with the geometry nodes. Obviously you can't see any of that, but that's kind of a bird's eye view. And then the animation goes something like this. And I didn't copy it, but I took inspiration from the first Terminator movie. If you can see, when you see the credits come on the screen, this is how they act. And then at the very end, it turns green and then it disappears. So this is what I have here. So I have it all set up. The animation, the coloring, everything. All I have to do is change the chapter title and the name of the video. So we're going to do that. So this is actually going to be chapter 7. And this is going to be, what do I want to call this? Face removal. But it's not face removal. Face, or marker removal. Removal. Marker removal. And there you go, it changes it there. And then this video is going to be called compositing gosh, I hadn't thought about this before I started the live stream. Compositing. Anybody got any good suggestions? This would be because I'm using the InPaint node. Compositing, I don't know, introduction. How about basic compositing techniques? Yeah, that's good. And depending on how long my sentence is, it could do 1 or 2 lines below here. If it does 2 lines, then I have this extra like keyframe for my square location. So you can see my square location. I can move that with geometry nodes that I set up. So I just made some keyframes if it actually goes below this line, which in this case it doesn't. So all I have to do actually is go back to frame 1 and then just clear these keyframes. We can just do clear single keyframes and we'll get rid of those. And then that square stays on this line. Just kind of the way I did it. I'm sure that there are other ways you could do it, but that gives me the most versatility. So there we go. Okay, so I've changed the title. Now all I have to do is come back over here and do a refresh. And now you can see it is in the same position as all of the other titles. Because I haven't moved anything here and I haven't rotated or scaled or anything here. And it fits all of my timing. And then when the, let's get this at 100%. When the text turns green, I have it a Gaussian blur also. And then it fades out. So all of that, I didn't have to redo any of that. And this is what the beauty of doing it this way is. Just change the title, change the words. Don't have to change any of the geometry nodes. Come back to editing. It's all done for me. This took me forever to figure out like how to do. I didn't used to do it this way, but I'm so glad I found this. A couple things to note though with the scene strips. So here's your strip properties up here. This is just another area with the sequencer. And I just have the sequencer here. You can see it's kind of weird. So this is the exact same thing as down here. But I just use this for the properties panel, which is on the right side. I just pull that out. It's just easier to have it all in one area instead of constantly pressing in and doing this over here. So I like to have that here. Let's see. And so then you can choose, it's pretty straightforward. You choose the title or the scene you want, and then the camera that's being used. So in title, it's just my main camera, which actually that's camera .003. So I don't actually know why it's... Oh no, right there. Okay, so this is the input camera or sequencer. So if you actually have a different scene with another video sequencer setup, you can import that in here as well. Okay, I skipped over that. There we go. Camera .003 is the correct one. If you don't do transparent, if you don't check that, then you won't see... Well, for some reason that's still working. I'm gonna say you don't actually see the behind it, but you are. So I don't know. Maybe that's also because of this material preview, which I'll go over in a second. And then just straightforward things: strip volume, that's the sound, and alpha over, kind of all the main strip stuff that you can put over here. But what I was missing for the longest time, by default, this appears as solid, and so you don't actually see any of the materials that you put like on the text and stuff like that, so it wouldn't show that this was turning green or anything over here. So I thought this was going to be on the strip information, but it's actually in here when you have your preview. So this is the sequencer preview. If you pull the properties open within, it's actually under scene strip display, so I can display it in different things. Wireframe doesn't work because we're using geometry nodes, but I like to use material preview because that's the simplest to use, and that's what I have up on the title here, the material preview mode. And that gives us all of our materials and our colors and everything that we need for our title. So that is how that is how I do the title, and I just change it for every video that I make. Change the chapter if I need to, or if it's the same chapter, just change the title of the video. And then I have this transition, which I go over actually how to make this transition, or how I made the transition. Sort of, how I compiled it all together. In my membership, I have membership blenderfrenzy.com. If you want to become a member and support me so I can do this full time, that would be wonderful. But yeah, so then I have the transition. We have the transition to the video, and then our first timestamp. So this is easy. This is recap. But before I add that, I need to know how many I have. So right now I have 4. So here are all my timestamps. I have or lower thirds. So I have it set up where I have, I think there's about 15 here. Actually, I don't even know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yes. So I only have 4. So I'm going to take 4, and I'm just going to shift D to duplicate those. And I'm doing this in order. So it has to be in the order that I have it set up. And so we can unhide these, and you can see the bottom one is the red. And if I get this here, there we go. Here's my lower thirds. It's just like the red noise, again, kind of going along with the Terminator theme. And then I have this animation for the... let me put this down to 25 again. Let's see if that works a little bit better. And we don't need to have our scrubbing play audio right now. It's kind of just distracting. Let's see. Okay, there's the animation for that. So the top portion is the animation, and the bottom portion is just the red color noise. And I want to change each of these. And the way I do that is I go to the lower thirds, and this is a completely different scene from the titles, and I have completely different geometry nodes, and you can see it's pretty complicated for this one. But I made it, and I made it work, and I'll show you how easy it is to do. So here, and by the way, you get all of this, like examples of this and stuff in the membership to download and play around with. So the timeline is important here. The first set here, if I do lower thirds, and I put this test, I didn't really rename it. It's just .001 through 015. So there's my 15 lower thirds things. And the first one is all the way here at the beginning. And if I zoom in here, I have it set for the animation to last 100 frames. And it starts on frame 1. So we start on frame 1 and then we go to 100. And then the next one doesn't start on 101, but I have a bit of a gap, and then it starts on 201. So if I click 2, then you can see this starts on 201. And then 401, I just keep skipping every 100 frames. And that's just to keep things enough separated from each other so that I can see what's going on. But so we're going to be using 1, 2, 3, and 4 because we only have those 4 markers. Markers in our video editing here, and we're just going to line it up with these markers. So I'm going to take this one, and then we're going to line it up with this marker here, and I can just jump to that marker. You can jump to markers by going to marker, jump to next marker. I have the shortcut key J and Alt J. I did that manually. You can do that by right-clicking and then change shortcut. So, but just be careful, don't override any other shortcuts you might have, or that Blender might have that you need to use. And then I'm just going to snap this with holding Control, and then this is just going to be recap. So I'm going to come back over to lower thirds, and we're going to go to 1, and this is always something I forget. I always forget to go to the one that I'm actually wanting to tweak. Let's go into material preview so we can see what's going on, and I don't want to see the selection there. So turn off those overlays, and here we go, tweaking the occlusion mask. That was for a different video, so this one is going to be, I think, just recap. So I'm just going to say recap. We're going to get rid of this one. Just like that. And come back over here, refresh. Ta-da! We now have this as recap. And of course, I'm going to just, in here, this is where I can actually resize and fit it right there. And that's probably actually a little bit too, whoa, okay, all right. And it's scaling it from over here because that's where the origin point is. If I turn on my overlays for this thing here, that's fine. I don't really need to change that for anything. All right, that looks like that looks okay. All right, and then I go to the next one, which is prep the compositor. Oops. Oh, it's going really slowly. My computer is doing a lot right now, and it doesn't actually have a lot of space left, so it's probably even a lot slower than it would normally be. And we'll just snap this one, And don't forget to select this also. You don't have to select this in order to change it, but when I come back here and start moving it around, sometimes I forget to, I have something else selected, so just want to make sure I select this first here. Go to my lower thirds, we're going to the second one, and we need to move our timeline cursor to here so we can see it. And this was prep the, and I'm going to do prep the in, this is just stylized choice, stylistic choice, prep the with just standard capitalization, and then all caps, compositor, the compositor. And maybe I will even make this longer and say prepping. Nope. There we go. Prepping the compositor. All right, and then we come back over here and refresh. And now we have prepping the compositor. And then I'll just adjust that to put that there. And we'll go to the next one. Very slowly. Moving very slowly. Very slowly. 10 points to anybody who can name what I'm quoting for that that song. Moving very slowly. Very slowly. Okay, lower thirds. We're on the third one here. We've got to go in between here so we can see that. I don't know if did I show you the actual animation here? So let's play this. And then we have this blinking eventually. Oh, that's going really slow. Okay. Let's go where it starts to blink. That's going to blink a lot faster. It's just playing really slowly. Okay. So that is the animation for all of the lower thirds. What was this one? Adding the 2D mask. Okay. So on this one, make sure 3 is selected. Yes. Okay. I always forget. I will have 2 or 1 still selected, and I'll change that, and it just messes everything up. So adding the 2D mask. There we go. Refresh. And then move that in, just eyeballing it in the middle. I don't really care. I probably could make some sort of calculation to make it right in the center, but nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care, and I don't care. So, intro to the alpha overnode. Okay, that is our 4th one, and we go to number 4. Intro to the alpha over node. Refresh. Oh, that's pretty good like that already. I don't really have to do anything. Okay, so let me show you. This is probably best if I do my prefetch. I can never say that. Prefetch frames. Maybe. So I think I've noticed a bug with prefetching frames. And okay, it looks like it is going to do the scene strips, but sometimes, oh, or not. See how it skipped over that? I don't understand why it's skipping over certain frames. Yeah, it doesn't like that. It doesn't like the scene frame, and it won't cache that in. There may be a setting that I could check to cache scene frames, but it does that to some other effects strip. I think like speed control and all that stuff too. I don't know why. I don't actually know why it does that. So I'm gonna have to just cache this in manually, so we'll uncheck that. Just using my arrow keys on the keyboard here, and that is, whew, that's really slow. Maybe I'll just use my, well, let's go to 50%. Is that gonna be better? What if I just played it? Wow, yeah, it doesn't like that at all. Let's go to our proxy. Okay, it doesn't like that on the proxy either, but that's the best we're going to be able to do here for demonstration while I'm live streaming and all of that stuff, so. So how is everybody? Here, I can take another sip. While we wait. Yeah. I do plan to get another hard drive and refresh my hard drive. I have Windows now, but I think I'll be switching over to Linux again soon, or soon-ish, whenever. Probably not going to do that until I finish the course. Wow, it really didn't like that scene strip. Okay, let's play this and see what we have. So that is the animation. And so I just created the animation for the lower thirds, and I just have one standard one that I use and change it like you just saw. So I would change all of that like that. And then I would do that for the whole video, which again, I'm not going to take you through the whole thing. And then at the very end, what I would do is come over here and grab the end. And then this is where I probably want to play my audio while scrubbing. This is the beard problem that we have here, because to talk about the next one, and that is the beard problem that we have here, because see, let's go in here, and actually I'm going to extend this out a little bit. In paint and blurring stuff. Oh, I'm getting all of this. Let's move this back. And I just want to kind of get a good endpoint here, because the in paint and blurring stuff works well on skin, but not so well on let's facial hair. Okay, not so well on facial hair. Okay, and actually that's probably a good endpoint. I don't always end my videos saying, okay, well, stay tuned till the next one. Although I do like to do that. I am going to take this and pull it, oops, come on, over to where after I say something. Facial hair. Okay, right there. That's a good point, I think. Just select this one and snap that. Facial hair. Okay. So, hair. Is that just because? Wait, why can't I see that? Oh, yeah. I don't like this. Sometimes with meta strips, if you don't move them around at all, then actually I don't know what really causes it, to be honest. But where the video ends in the meta strip, then it also ends here. But it's supposed to extend that out. So I'm not entirely sure why it doesn't extend it out. Because, yeah, from here, this is the end, and it should actually extend that video out when I do that. but it's just still recognizing that this is the. It still recognizes that this is the endpoint over here, and I don't know why. So whatever, I can change this by just snapping the video to the timeline cursor there. Let's go to our proxy. Oh, much better. Okay. So then we've got this end transition, and then I transition it into this just generic gray color, but we have to make sure that our modifier is using the mask. So I know the privacy bars is already using the modifier mask here. So what I can do is select this one and then shift select this one last, and copy selected strips, just replace, and then refresh, and then that should use, basically what it's doing is this. It's using the masks up here that I've already set up. So there's the glitch, here's the mask for that glitch, and so the privacy bars are using that, and the video now is using that. And so altogether it looks like that. So it wipes over into whatever's beneath it, and in this case it's a color strip. So all right, and then I put that there. So the video I now know is going to be 17 minutes and 39 seconds long. Well, at least if I don't cut anything else out, because I will actually have to go back over this again. But there you go. That is that's how I edit the videos for my course. So it's the same thing over and over again. Different phases. I do, just real quick, I guess, show you the rendering portion of it. Whenever you render something out, especially if it's video and especially if it's this long of video, this long of video is going to probably take at least twice or 3 times as long to render, depending on the quality. And so pro tip here is to make sure everything looks correct before you do it. And because if you render the whole thing, it takes several hours, and then you realize, oh nope, we've got to change this, then you're gonna have to do it all over again. For 1 minute, TikTok videos is not really all that big of a deal. But anyway, so I have this set up on my rendering. This is a completely different setup than the normal rendering. I have my sequence editor here, our video sequencer, and then I have this on preview. This is just the standard properties, and then this is our render result. So we have our image editor with our render result. You have to, if you're using the sequencer, you have to go to your output all the way down to post-processing and make sure sequencer is checked. Otherwise, you're not going to see any of this stuff in the sequencer. Okay, so having said that, we've got everything there. Then I just check to make sure what is over here is displayed over here after I press F12. And it is. And then I just go kind of bit by bit, make sure that what I see over here is what I see over here. And I like to go with some of the in-betweens for the transitions and any sort of animation that I might have, just to make sure this frame, it matches this frame over here, which it does. And then I like to go at least in one of these at several different places, just to make sure that the animation is working correctly, and it is. And then I will go probably to the next one and just make sure that matches by pressing F12. That is taking a long time. I wonder how much lag there is for you guys. I hope there's not. I hope the video stream is going all right. It may. Again, I'm not really familiar with live streaming a lot, so I'm gonna have to get used to like how to do it more efficiently. But yeah, all of that looks the same. And then I would just do that through all of the video, kind of some at the beginning, some in the middle, some at the end, and some around the transitions and stuff. And I have caught quite a few mistakes doing this, and it's always good to catch them before you actually render it out. Okay, and then here are my render settings. Just 1920 by 1080. I just keep it like that. I don't go any higher than that. FFmpeg video, standard color RGB. I usually do it MP4, H.264, high quality, good. Medium quality is also pretty good for Blender, and it also reduces your file size. So, but this is for, you know, a course, so I want to have that as high quality as possible there, given the file size and the time it takes and all of that stuff. Audio codec is MP3. That is not necessarily the best one, but I've never had any problems with it, and it's a very small size, so that is it. And then you come up here and, well, you save it, make sure you save it first, and then render, and then you render animation, or Control F12. So that is it. So I last time we went over like how I did some of the cutting of the initial cutting of the footage, where I showed you kind of a whole bunch of different tips and tricks as I went along, as I ran into things, talking about, you know, tips, techniques, you know, problems that you might run into. And then in this video, kind of showed the second pass to all of that, where I watched the video through the whole thing, which we didn't do this time, but make sure I have it cut the way I wanted, make sure it makes sense. Sometimes what I'll do also is add audio. Like if I say something wrong, or if I say something and I forget to turn off my phone and it dings, or a train comes by or whatever, I will re-record stuff just for the audio. Or I might watch it and realize, oh, I missed a huge chunk here. I actually have to add this, otherwise nobody's going to understand what I'm talking about, or they're going to be confused or whatever. So then I have to go back and I have to plan that, and I have to re-record, and then I insert it in. But before I do that, I just make a marker, be like, RR for, usually I say RR for re-record and AR for add record. And then I say, you know, show method 2 here. I don't know, like I just, something like that. And that's it. And then I add the markers with the timestamps. As I do that, we change the title, we change the lower thirds. They're all set up how I want them to. The initial making of a course or any sort of series like on YouTube is going to be hard initially, but once you know, because all of this stuff, this took me, you know, hours and everything to come up with, and it went through iterations as I went along, and but now I know the concepts. Hopefully it's going to take me less time in the future, but the initial setup is what I'm saying is takes the longest. But once you have your templates and set up and everything, all you have to do is just for the next video, by the way, after I do this, I'll just save this video as the next video, and then I'll come in here and I'll delete my meta strip here. I'll delete all my markers, and I'll move the end stuff over here to the beginning, and then I'll make the start frame 720 again, and then I'll add in my new footage, and then I'll cut from there. And that way I have all of my templates, transitions, lower thirds, titles, and everything still in place for changing in the next video. So that's it. This one was a little shorter than, actually I don't know what's our runtime. Oh, it's an hour, almost to the dot, an hour. So I guess I only had one chat today again. Maybe Elizabeth can join or watch it later. I know she was really engaged yesterday, and we had a good little mini conversation there. Um, yeah, so you can ask questions or whatever. I might stay on for a couple more minutes in case anybody wants to ask any questions about Blender video editing or life in general. How's life for everyone? Sometimes it's stressful, right? I've been super busy lately. Lately, I don't know, my whole life, whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can mention of different tips and techniques that I do. I pretty much covered everything. Just kind of do it all over again, you know. Um, I do. Let's go to the. Uh, let's go to the lower thirds here in the geometry nodes. This is something that I'm really wanting to get into, is like lower thirds and title transitions or title animations and stuff for YouTube videos. People can download like templates and stuff, and you saw how easy it was to, you know, replace these here. Just making everything, you know, just it's basically like a little mini, you know, add-on or program. And in fact, the people who are making add-ons, I believe a lot of them are geometry nodes based anyway. So yeah, but yeah, I wanna kind of like get into like making a lot more of this type stuff. I've only been focused on like 2D elements right now. So if I come into the 3D viewport, you can see this is just a 2D element. I know a lot of people like the 3D stuff, 3D animations and motion graphics and stuff. I eventually want to, you know, transition into that. But I think laying the foundation and the groundwork for geometry nodes, procedural titles and animations with text is better with two-dimensional stuff, and then you can branch out into the three-dimensional stuff after that. So yeah, it's kind of some of the stuff that I want to get into. You know, something else I want to get into, speaking of titles, is I want to just start to create titles of movies and television shows and stuff that I like. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Firefly, but that is my all-time favorite TV show. It is the all-time best television show ever in the history of television shows. I know that's probably fighting words and very contentious to to some people, but it is just fact. Sorry. Can't change the facts. But the Firefly title with the words and then the light that kind of comes through through the letters. I've been playing around with how to recreate that in Blender. So I want to do that. Things like, you know, maybe the Lost titles, The Last of Us. I'm sure we could. I don't actually know why someone hasn't done this already, but like do like the Last of Us title animation using geometry nodes, where you make things grow. What else? The Batman one, the 90s Batman one, where you have the music playing and then the camera's kind of just like flying through the Batman logo, and then after it's done, it like lifts up and you see the logo. So I'm gonna try to do that one. Just a lot. I've got a lot of ideas for a lot of things, and I have very little time to actually tackle any of that stuff. So, well, anyway, it is it is late now, and let's see, what's the time? What have we been running on? A minute and four. Oh, we got more viewers now than me not doing anything, just rambling on than we have before. Any questions, you guys who are watching now? Any Anything you want to chat about? Anything you want to pick my brain about? Technically, you can't pick my brain unless you're a surgeon, and I need that. Um, but you can pick my mind. No. Where are y'all from? What part of the world are you watching from? No? Nothing? Got nothing? That's okay. I don't normally, when I'm watching stuff live, I normally don't comment on anything either. Um, what other logo do I want to make? I thought there was one recently that I was thinking about doing. Or title, I mean, like a movie title or a show title. The problem with making content, especially with Blender stuff, is that there's so much that you can do with Blender, and I want to do it all. Like, except for sculpting. I've never been really all that into sculpting. Plus, from what I hear, you need like a pad to do the sculpting, like the pen, the stylus, or whatever that's called. I don't like that. So I've never bought one. But anyway, I would love to do a whole bunch of different things in Blender. And if it's too random and you don't have a consistent like niche, then you kind of lose people's interests, or you split your audience. I early on became known as the video sequence editor guy in Blender, and I wasn't trying to do that. It's just that I was editing videos for another project that I was, is actually another website that I was making for language learning. And so I edited all my videos in Blender because Blender was free. And so I learned how to do that. And so I decided to just start with what I knew, and I started editing my videos and teaching people how to edit their videos, just what I knew how to do. And that was it. And then I started that, and then people like just started watching for the video editing. But I got so sick of video editing because that's all I spent doing in Blender, and I wanted to use Blender for visual effects. I wanted to make cool, like, scenes or shorts or whatever, teaser trailers for movies that don't exist. Just different. I just wanted to, kind of do like imaginative stuff in Blender, and so that's why I'm trying to break out into the visual effects stuff, especially with this course and all of that. But it's difficult because if you do one VFX thing here and then one title thing here and then video editing stuff here, you kind of it's like a shotgun. You're spread out, and sometimes you're too spread out. And I don't like, sometimes it's better to have a niche to start with, where you just kind of keep going. So I've sort of thought about making my next niche be the titles and the lower thirds and all of that stuff, because it's not too far away from video editing, and it's something that I really enjoy doing, and I have kind of a grasp on, and it's something that I think I would be able to pump out a lot more content consistently. So that's kind of the direction I'm thinking about going. But then, like, for my membership stuff, like, I would love to get into like just really cool like visual effects. Maybe even just create a short. I have like a couple different skits of or like, what is it called? Screen plays. I don't know. Like, ideas of little shorts that I can do to kind of showcase or test some things that Blender can do, like, maybe a 3D face mask of some sort. And I have an idea in my mind of like a little skit that I wanted to do. I kind of have an idea of paying homage is it homage? Paying homage? Isn't it a French word, or is it paying homage? Like, do you just say paying homage to? Anyway, paying my respects to Firefly for being, canceled too early, as every true Firefly. What do they call them? Independents. Every true flyer will know. Anyway, I have a little skit in my mind of kind of making something similar to that universe. So I'm thinking about maybe doing kind of like the heavy visual effects stuff in my membership. So if you want to see more of that type of stuff there, it's just finding the time to do all of that. It's just so difficult. Especially now, well, I'm not doing Blender full time yet, which I'm trying to transition into. So your support would definitely help me out with that. And people have already supported, and I appreciate all of you who have supported. And I know right now it's just I haven't been able to crank out as much content, and I apologize about that. But again, the more I can break into the Blender stuff full time, the more content it's gonna, it might be a little bit of an investment for you at first, but I'm going to power through, power on, and yeah, this the one person that's watching now, that's looks like you've been here mostly probably the whole time. Thanks for staying on. And I don't know if that's you, Shrujan, there, who left the comment, but yeah, thanks. And I'm gonna end this now. I gotta start getting ready for bed. I'm a little bit sleepy now, but I hope this was helpful. Hope this is fun, and if these two videos get a lot of traction and people like this stuff, then I might make more. But until then, happy blending, and you will see me in the next one.